Something that's really paramount to any operation, particularly to our livestock operations right now, and how they can sort of prove really what they're doing and show that they really are being proactive on their operations. So consumers these days are really quite engaged with where their food products come from. And when we're talking about our beef clients, so that's my main client on our livestock side is cow-calf feedlot operators and a handful of dairies. But in particular with our cow-calf operations and our feedlots, I think they have a lot to show in terms of all of the value-add things that they are doing, but whether they're really getting down and showing that to their consumer is sometimes of question. And so I think there's some things and some missed opportunities for some of those producers. So whether that would just be simply, getting engaged with record management systems to be able to document, the procedures that you're doing, or maybe the procedures that you're not doing that can help your product to actually be value added. So things like, hormone-free products that would actually allow you to get into markets like the EU beef program, or even antibiotic-free programs potentially too. And that can only be done by being able to verify and trace back that animal to the herd of origin and have, shown proven records of those types of things. Another great program that actually is Canadian born and pushed by our Canadian beef industry would be the Verified Beef Production Plus program. And so that's another program that is even more well-rounded, and that it brings in not just, the sustainability, it really brings in sustainability into the cow-calf and feedlot operation, as well as packing plants. And so that program actually has kickback and will pay producers for following some of the steps that are part of that program. And paramount to that is having established health protocols, management protocols, and procedures that you're doing to ensure the sustainability, environmental suitability of your operation too as well. And so it all comes back to working with your other herd consultants, whether that be your herd veterinarian, to establish well-defined protocols, maybe just sitting down with them on an annual basis and discussing preventative things, looking at your records, and having them just make some true recommendations. They can also help you, the veterinarian, on the nutrition side. We get to see that quite a bit, and so we can work with you a lot in that regard, but also working alongside directly with a nutritionist to establish those types of things, and maybe even just working alongside with other producers that are doing some of the things that you think might be opportunities. So people that are already on some of these programs, people are already doing some of these record keeping sort of avenues. So just keeping on board with what they're doing and keeping in check with them. So we just really want to encourage that the producers and these sort of timeframes right now take opportunities to be able to market their product to the best of their ability, whether that be directly to a consumer or directly to a slaughter facility. We try to encourage you guys to look out for whatever opportunities might be best appropriate for you to be able to market your product. The basic comes down to a tagging system, right? So that system already exists in our CCI tags, so that's sort of the bare minimum that guys need to be doing. And a lot of these programs like the Verified Beef Plus, so it takes it to one level further. Not only do you need to be doing your CCI tags, you got to be age verifying those critters too as well, getting enrolled on to programs like BIXIS, so Beef Information Exchange too as well, to be able to help with the transfer of that information. So baseline is some sort of tagging system, right? And there's huge benefits just on a simple visual ID tagging system that allows the producer to be able to manage his top end, know which calves are coming out of the better cows, as well as being able to manage that bottom end with having a visual ID on board. So being able to pick out which calves come from the poorer of cows, or be able to just identify and recognize which cows are the ones that aren't performing to their ability, don't have proper udder, feet, leg structure. So you can't manage what you don't measure, and so having some sort of tagging system is sort of a baseline. And then it doesn't need to be too fancy from there. I mean, even just having a simple book on in terms of what your records are is all you need, but being able to get that to a digital level really does open some opportunities into some of these other value add programs and eases that ability to get onto these programs. So in addition to the visual ID, so being sort of the baseline of any of these record keeping sort of systems, is being able to document document then alongside with that visual ID or that individual animal ID, what medications have they had, and sort of knowing then, what is their withdrawal time, and being able to show that, hey, we know what we've given to these critters, and so that should, when we have established withdrawal times on all of the products that we're giving, and there's various safety measures and information on those products, so it just gives that vote of confidence to the consumer that this is what we've been doing. We're doing this for either preventative measures or treating conditions and treating animals that do end up getting sick in the system. So I think if most guys have some sort of baseline start, and so something that we do on either an annual basis or definitely on enrollment of new clients, sort of basic information is just herd demographics. How many critters, what are their weights, what sort of weights are you breeding critters at, what are your stocking densities in certain pastures, what types of pastures are you putting these critters onto, and sort of what are you already doing in terms of health management too as well. So what vaccination programs are you using, to which critters, what's timing, and then also what are sort of your reproductive performance metrics. So how many critters are you having calve in the first cycle, and then what are sort of health metrics? How many calves get sick from birth to weaning or weaning on, and how many die then too as well, how many abortions, stillbirths, those type of things are really huge sort of information that can really help not only veterinarian but other consultants work with you in terms of making management changes in terms of prevention or treatment modalities, and then even also what are you using to treat too as well. So we can even make recommendations in terms of are we using an appropriate product, are we using it appropriately in an appropriate route, and just making sure that that you're doing sort of what's not really necessarily modern medicine, but maybe what's best fit for your operation, and the types of critters you're running and the situation that you're operating in. Probably the guys that are actually keeping a lot of records, those seem to be the guys that they've really sort of got everything worked out, and they've, like I said before, they've managed their bottom end and their top end, right? So they know who they're keeping replacements out of, or they know who they're going to be marketing as critters as either purebred sale critters, or they're going to be the critters that are going to be the ones that are marketed as replacements to someone else, or they know exactly which ones are going to be marketed to some sort of other value-added program because they meet whatever metrics in that regard. And so those guys know what they've got in terms of an inventory, and really what they can do with those critters. And so I think by not having any sort of record management system, you really just don't know what you have and how to manage it in all reality. So I think that's really sort of the baseline metrics of it.
For more video, pictures, and audio on this story, go to ruralrootscanada.com.